Okay, I think I have everybody on the reading list here. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, but there's eight of us. Who am I missing? Oh my
Yourself.
goodness. That's right. Oh, Joe, this will be unusual. You're at the end of the line this time. There we go. Okay. Hello out there in video land. We are continuing the final episode of Ulysses, which is called the Penelope section. It's Molly Bloom in a monologue. And we're starting at a section. If you're going to try to find it before you continue the tape, you would look for "They're All So Different Boylan." And with that, I'm going to go ahead and read. We're going to go ahead and read. My goodness, we might go around two times. All right. They're all so different. Boylan talking about the shape of my foot. He noticed it once, even before he was introduced, when I was in the DBC, with Poldy laughing and trying to listen. I was waggling my foot. We both ordered two teas and plain bread and butter. I saw him looking with his two old maids of sisters when I stood up and asked the girl where was it. What do I care with it dropping out of me and that black clothes breeches he made me buy. Takes you half an hour to let them down. Wetting all myself, always with some brand new fad every week, and such a long one. I forgot my suede gloves on the seat behind that I never got after some robber of a woman. He wanted me to put it in the Irish Times, lost in the ladies' lavatory, DBC, Dame Street. Finder returned to Mrs. Marion Bloom. And I saw his eyes on my feet going out through the turning door. He was looking when I looked back. And I went there for tea 2 days later in the hope, but he wasn't. Now, how did that excite him? Because I was crossing them when we were in the other room. First, he meant the shoes that were too tight to walk in my hand. It's nice like that. If I only had a ring with the stone for my month, a nice aquamarine. I'll stick for him one and a gold bracelet. I don't like my foot so much. Still, I made him spend once with my foot the night after Godwin's botch up of a concert. Next reader, please.
Um, so cold and windy it was as well. We had that rum in the house to mull, and the fire was blackout when he asked me to take off my stockings lying on the hearth rug in Lombard Street West. And another time it was my muddy boots. He'd like me to walk in all the horse's dung I could find. But of course, it's not natural like the rest of the world. And that's what I did. He said, he say, I could give 9 points and 10 to Kitty Lanner and beat her. What does that mean? I
Yeah.
asked. I forget what he said because the stock dress edition just passed. And the man with the curly hair and the look and dairy, that's so polite. I think I saw his face somewhere. I noticed him when I was tasting the butter, so I took my time. Bartle Darcy, too, that he used to make fun of when he commenced kissing me in the choir stairs after I had sung Ground's Ave Maria. What are we waiting for, oh my heart? Kiss me straight on the brow, and part which my brown part, kiss me straight on the brow, and part which is my brown part. He was pretty hot for all his teeny voice. To my low notes, he was always raving about, if you can believe him. I liked the way he used to mouth singing. And then he said, wasn't it terrible to do that in a place like that? I don't see anything so terrible about it. I'll tell him about it someday. Not now. And surprise him. Aye, and I'll take him there and show him the very place too we did it. So now there you are, like it or lump it, if he thinks nothing can happen without him, knowing he hadn't an idea about my mother till we were engaged. Otherwise, he'd never got me so cheap as he did. He was low times, worse himself, now begging me to give him a tiny bit cut off my drawers. That was the evening. Coming along Candlewood Square, he kissed me in the eye of my glove, and I had to take it off. Next, Owen.
Asking me questions isn't permitted to inquire the shape of my bedroom, so I let him keep it as if I forgot it to think of me. When I saw him slip it into the pocket, of course he's mad on the subject of drawers, that's plain to be seen. Always squeezing at some brazen-faced things on their bicycles, with their skirts blowing up to their navels. Even when Millie and I were out with him at the open air fete, that one in the cream muslin standing right against the sun so he could see every atom she had on. When he saw me from behind coming in the rain, I saw him before he saw me. However, standing at the corner of the Harold's Cross Road with a new raincoat on him, with the muffler in the Zingari colours to show off his complexion, and the brown hat looking sly boots as usual. What was he doing there, where he'd no business? There, they can go and get whatever they like from anything at all with a skirt on it. And we're not to ask any question, but they want to know where you were. Where are you going? I could feel him coming along, skulking after me, his eyes on my neck. He had been keeping away from the house. I felt it was going too warm. I felt it was getting too warm for him, so I half turned and stopped. Then he pestered me to say, yes, still. I took off my gloves slowly, watching him. He said my open work sleeves were too cold for the rain. Anything for an excuse to put his hand near me. And near me, drawers, the whole blessed time, till I promised to give him the pair off my doll. Next reader.
To carry about in his waistcoat pocket. Oh, Maria Santissima! He did look a big fool, drooping in the rain. Splendid set of teeth. He had made me hungry to look at them, and beseeched of me to lift the orange petticoat I had on, with sunray pleats, that there was nobody, he said. He'd kneel down in the wet if I didn't so persevering, he would too, and ruin his new raincoat. You never know what freak they'd take alone with you. They're so savage for it. If anyone was passing, so I lifted them a bit and touched his trousers outside the way I used to, gardener after with my ring hand to keep him from doing worse, where it was too public. I was dying to find out, was he circumcised? He was shaking like a jelly all over. They want to do everything too quick, take all the pleasure out of it. And father waiting all the time for his dinner. He told me to say I left my purse in the butcher's and had to go back for it. What a deceiver. Then he wrote me that letter with all those words in it. How could he have the face to any woman after his company manners making it so awkward? After when we met, asking me, have I offended you with my eyelids down? Of course, he saw I wasn't. He had a few brains, not like that other fool, Henry Doyle. He was always breaking or tearing something in the charades. I hate an unlucky man. And if I knew what it meant, of course I had to say no for form's sake. Don't understand you, I said. And wasn't it natural? So it is, of course. It used to be written up with a picture of a woman's on that wall in Gibraltar, with that word I couldn't find anywhere, only for children seeing it too young, then writing a letter every morning, sometimes twice a day. I liked the way he made love then. He knew the way to take a woman when he sent me the 8 big poppies, because mine was the 8th. Then I wrote the night he kissed my heart at Dolphin's Barn. I couldn't describe it. Simply, it makes you feel like nothing on earth. But he never knew how to embrace well like Gardner. I hope he'll come on Monday, as he said at the same time, for I hate people who come at all hours answering the door. You think it's the vegetables, then it's somebody, and you're all undressed. Or the door of the filthy, sloppy kitchen blows open. Next, please. Jim.
Thank you, Orla. The day old frosty-faced Goodwin called about the concert at Lombard Street, and I just after dinner, all flushed and tossed with boiling old stew. Don't look at me, Professor, I had to say. I'm a fright, yes, but he was a real old gent in his way. It was impossible to be more respectful. Nobody to say you're out. You have to peep out through the blinds like a messenger boy today. I thought it was a put-off first. Him sending me the port and the peaches first, and I was just beginning to yawn with nerves, thinking he was trying to make a fool of me. When I knew his tatara at the door, he must have been a bit late because it was 3:15 when I saw the two Dillis girls coming from school. I never know the time, even that watch he gave me never seems to go properly. I'd want to get it looked after when I threw the penny to that lame sailor for England home, and beauty when I was whistling There is a charming girl I love, and I hadn't even put on my clean shift or powdered myself or a thing then this day week when to go to Belfast just as well he had to go to Ennis, his father's anniversary, the 27th. It wouldn't be pleasant if he did suppose our rooms at the hotel, were beside each other. And my fooling went on in the new bed. I couldn't tell him to stop and not bother me with him in the next room, or perhaps some Protestant churchman with a cough knocking on the wall. Then he wouldn't believe next day we didn't do something. It's all very well, a husband, but you can't fool a lover after he telling him we never did anything. Of course he didn't believe me. No, it's better he's going where he is. Besides, something always happens with him. The time going up the Malloch concert at Maryborough, ordering boiling soup for the two of us, then the bell rang. Out he walks down the platform with the soup splashing about, taking spoonfuls of it. Hadn't he the nerve, and the waiter after him making a holy show of us, screeching and confusion for the engine to start. But he wouldn't pay till he finished it. The gentleman in the third class carriage said he was quite right. So he was too. So he was too. He's too pig-headed sometimes when he gets a thing into his head. A good job he was able to open the carriage door with his knife, or they'd have taken us to Cork. I suppose that was done out of revenge on him. Oh, I love jaunting on a tram or a car with lovely soft cushions. I wonder will he take it a first class for me? He might want to do it in the train by tipping the guard well. Oh, I suppose they'll be the usual idiots of men gaping at us with their eyes as stupid as they can possibly be. That can be an exceptional man, that common workman would let us alone in the carriage. That day going to Howth, I'd like to find out something about him. One or two tunnels, perhaps. Then you have to look out of the window, all the nicer. Then coming back, I suppose I never came back. What would they say? Elope with him that gets you on the stage in the next concert. I sang it it's over a year ago when it was St. Teresa Hall, Clarendon Street. Little chits of Mrs. Day that now singing Kathleen Carney and her like on account of father being in the army, and my singing the absent-minded beggar and wearing a brooch for Lord Roberts when I had a map of it all and Poldy not Irish enough. Was it him managed it this time? I wouldn't put it past him, like he got me on to sing the Sabbath, the Stabat Mater by going around saying he was putting lead kindly light to music. I put him up to that till the Jesuits found out he was a Freemason, thumping the piano. Lead thou me uncopied for some old opera. Yes, and he was going about with some of them Shinner Fane lately, or whatever they call themselves, talking his usual trash and nonsense. He says that little man he showed me without the neck is a very intelligent, the coming man. Griffith is well, he doesn't look like it, that's all I can say. Still, it must have been him. He knew there was a boycott. I hate the mention of politics after the war that Pretoria and Ladysmith and Bloemfontein, where Gardner Lieutenant Stanley, G8th Battalion, 2nd East Lancers Regiment, of eccentric fervour. He was a lovely fella and khaki and just the right height over me. I'm sure he was brave too. He said I was lovely the evening we kissed goodbye at the Canal Lock. My Irish beauty, he was pale with excitement about going away, or we'd be seen from the road. He couldn't stand properly, and I so hot as I never felt they could have made their peace at the beginning. Or old Paul and the rest of the old Krugers go and fight it out. Next, please. Katrina, I think.
Mhm. Between them, instead of dragging on for years, killing any fine-looking men there were with their fever, if he was even decently shot, it wouldn't have been so bad. I love to see a regiment pass in review. The first time I saw the Spanish cavalry at La Roque, it was lovely. After looking across the bay from Algeciras, all the lights of the rocks like fireflies, or those sham battles on the 15 acres, the Black Watch with their kilts in time of the march past, the 10th Hussars, the Prince of Wales' own, or the Lancers. Oh, the Lancers, they're grand. Or the Dublins that won Tugela. His father made his money over selling the horses for the cavalry. Well, he could buy me a nice present up in Belfast after what I gave him. They've lovely linen up there, or one of those nice kimono things. I must buy a mothball like I had before to keep in the drawer with them. It would be exciting going round with him shopping and buying those things in a new city. Better leave this ring behind. Want to keep turning and turning to get it over the knuckle there, or they might bell it round the town in their papers or tell the police on me, but they think we're married. Oh, let them all go and smother themselves for the fat lot I care. He has plenty of money and he's not a marrying man, so somebody better get it out of him. If I could find out whether he likes me, I looked a bit washy, of course, when I looked close in the hang glass, powdering. A mirror never gives you the expression. Besides scooching down on me like that all the time with his big hip bones, he's heavy too with his hairy chest. For this heat, always having to lie down on them, better for him to put it into me from behind the way Mrs. Mastiansky told me her husband made her, like the dogs do it, and stick out her tongue as far as ever she could. And he was so quiet, and he's so quiet and mild with his ting tinga ting uh, sither. Can you ever be up to men the way that takes them lovely stuff in that blue suit he had on and stylish tie and socks with sky blue silk things on them? He's certainly well off. I know by the cut his clothes have and his heavy watch. But he was like a perfect devil for the first few minutes after he came back with the stop press, tearing up the tickets and swearing blazes because he had lost 20 quid. Next, please.
He said he lost over that outsider that won, and half he put on for me on account of Lenehan's tip, cursing him to the lowest pits. That sponger he was making free with me after the Glencree dinner. Coming back that long jout over the featherbed mountain, after the Lord Mayor looking at me with his dirty eyes. Val Dillon, that big heathen, I first noticed him at dessert when I was cracking the nuts with my teeth. I wished I could have picked every morsel of that chicken out of my fingers. It was so tasty and browned and as tender as anything. Only for I didn't want to eat everything on my plate. Those forks and fish slices were hallmark silver, too. I wish I had some. I could easily have slipped a couple into my muff when I was playing with them. Then always hanging out of them for money in a restaurant with a bit you put down your throat. We have to be thankful for our mangy cup of tea itself as a great compliment to be noticed. The way the world is divided in any case, if it's going to go on. I want at least 2 other good chemises for one thing, but I don't know what kind of drawers he likes. None at all, I think. Didn't he say yes? And half the girls in Gibraltar never wore them, either naked or God made them that. Andalusian singing her Manola. She didn't make much secret of what she hadn't. Yes. And the second pair of silkette stockings is laddered after one day's wear. I could have brought them back to Lures this morning and kicked up a row and made that one change. I made that one change them only, not to upset myself, and run the risk of walking into him and running the whole thing in one of those kid-fitting corsets I'd want advertised cheap in the Gentlewoman with elastic gores on the hips. He saved the one I have, but that's no good. What did they say they give? A delightful figure line, 11 and 6, obviating that unsightly broad appearance across the lower back to reduce flesh. My belly is a bit too big. I'll have to knock off the stout at dinner. Or am I getting too fond of it? The last they sent from O'Rourke's was as flat as a pancake. He makes his money easy. Larry, they called him. The old mangy parcel he sent at Xmas, a cottage cake, and a bottle of hogwash he tried to palm off his claret, but he couldn't get anyone to drink. God spare his spit for fear he'd die of the drought. Or I must do a few breathing exercises. I wonder, is that anti-fat any good? Might overdo it. The thin ones are not so much the fashion. Now, Garda's that much. I have the violet pair I wore today. That's all he bought me out of that check he got on the first. Oh no, there was a face lotion I finished the last of yesterday that made my skin like new. I told him over and over again, get that made up in the same place. And don't forget it. God only knows whether he did after all. I said to him, I'll know by the bottle. Anyway, if not, I suppose I'll only have to wash in my piss like beef tea, or beginning to look coarse, or chicken soup with some of that apoponics and violet. I thought it was beginning to look coarse or old a bit. The skin underneath is much finer where it peeled off there on my finger after the burn. It's a pity it isn't all like that. And the 4 paltry handkerchiefs, about 6 in all, sure you can't get on in this world without style. Next, please.
All going in food and rent. When I get it, I'll lash it around, I tell you, in fine style. I always wanted to throw a handful of tea into the pot, measuring and mincing. If I buy a pair of old brogues, do you like those new shoes? Yes. How much were they? I've no clothes at all. The brown costume and the skirt and jacket, and the one at the cleaner's 3. What's that for any woman cutting up this old hat and patching up the other? The men won't look at you and the women try to walk on you because they know you've no man. Then, with all the things getting dearer every day for the 4 years more I have of life up to 35. No, what am I at all? I'll be 33 in September, will I? What? Oh, well, look at that Mrs. Galbraith. She's much older than me. I saw her when I was out last week. Her beauty's on the wane. She was a lovely woman, magnificent head of hair on her, down to her waist, tossing it back like that, like Kitty O'Shea in Grantham Street. First thing I did every morning to look across to see her combing it, as if she loved it and was full of pity. I only got to know her the day before we left. And that Mrs. Langtry, the Jersey Lily, the Prince of Wales was in love with. I suppose he's like the first man going the roads, only for the name of a king. They're all made the one way, only a black man's. I'd like to try a beauty up to see what she, 45, there was some funny story about the jealous old husband. What was it all? And an oyster knife. He made her wear a kind of tin thing round her. And the Prince of Wales, yes, he had the oyster knife. It can't be true. A thing like that, like some of those books. He brings me the works of Master Francois, somebody supposed to be a priest, about a child born out of her ear because her bumgoat fell out. A nice word for any priest to write. And her A .E, as if any fool wouldn't know what that meant. I hate that pretending of all things with the old blackguard's face on him. Anybody can see it's not true. And that ruby and fair turbans he brought me, that twice I remember, when I came to page 50, the part where she hangs him up out of a hook with a cord, flagellate. Sure, there's nothing for a woman in all that invention made up about he drinking the champagne out of her slipper after the ball was over, like the infant Jesus in the crib in Inchicore in the Blessed Virgin's arms. Sure, no woman could have a child that big. Take it out of her. I thought first it came out of her side, because how could she go to the chamber when she wanted to? And she, a rich lady, of course, she felt His Royal Highness, he was in Gibraltar the year I was born. She felt honoured, rather. His Royal Highness, he was in Gibraltar the year I was born. I bet he found lilies there too, where he planted the tree. He planted more than that in his time. He might have planted me too, if he'd come a bit sooner, then I wouldn't be here as I am. He ought to chuck that free man with the paltry few shillings he knocks out of it and go into an office or something where he get regular pay, or a bank where they could put him up on a throne to count the money all day. Of course, he prefers plottering about the house. You can't get you can't stir him with anything, with any side. What's your program today? I wish he'd even smoke a pipe like father to get the smell of a man, or pretending to be mooching about for advertisements when he could have been in Mr. Cuff still, only for what he did then, sending me to try to patch it up. I could have got him promoted there to be manager. He gave me a great Marada once or twice. First, he was as stiff as the mischief, really and truly, Mrs. Bloom. Only I felt rotten simply with the old rubbishy dress that I lost the leads out of. The tails with no cut in them, but they're coming into fashion again. I bought it simply to please him. I knew it was no good. By the finish, I changed my mind going to Todd Burns, and I said, and not Lee's. It was just like the shop itself, rummage sale, a lot of trash. I hate those rich shops. They get on your nerves. Nothing kills me altogether. Only he thinks he knows a great lot about woman's dress and cooking, mothering everything he can scour off the shelves into it. If I went by his advices, every blessed hat I put on that suit me. Yes, that's all right. And the one like a wedding cake standing up miles of my head, he said, suited me. Or the dish cover one coming down on my backside on pins and needles. About the shop girl in that place in Grafton Street I had the misfortune to bring him into, and she, insolent as ever, she could, as ever she could be, with her smirk, saying, I'm afraid we were giving you too much trouble. What's she there for? But I started. Oh, sir, but I stared it out of her. Yes, he was awfully stiff, and no wonder. But he changed the second time. He looked Poldy, pig-headed as usual, like the soup, but I could see him looking hard at my chest when he stood up to open the door for me. It was nice of him to show me out, and in any case, I'm extremely sorry, Mrs. Bloom. Believe me, without making it too marked, the first time after him being insulted and me being supposed to be his wife, I just half smiled. I know my chest was out that way at the door when he said, I'm extremely sorry, and I'm sure you were.
Oh,
End of sentence two.
wasn't that just perfect?
Yes.
Timing by everyone.
Wow.
Yes, I think he made them seem a bit firmer, sucking them like that. So long he made me thirsty titties, he called them. I had to laugh, yes. This one's anyhow stiff. The nipple gets for the least thing. I'll get him to keep that up. I'll take those eggs beaten up with Marsala, fatten them out for him. What are all those veins and things? Curious way it's made, too. The same in the case of twins. They're supposed to represent beauty, placed up there, like those statues in the museum. One of them pretending to hide it with her hand. Are they so beautiful? Oh, of course, compared with what a man looks like with his two bags full and this other thing hanging down out of him or sticking up at you like a hat rack. No wonder they hide it with a cabbage leaf. The woman is beauty, of course. That's admitted. When he said I could pose for the picture naked to some rich fellow in Hollis Street when he lost his job at Healy's, and I was selling the clothes and strumming in the coffee palace, would I be like that Bath of the Nymph with my hair down? Yes, only she's younger. And I'm a little like that dirty bitch in that Spanish photo. He has the nymphs. They used to go about like that. Then I asked him that disgusting Cameron Highlander behind the meat market, or that other wretch with the red head behind the tree where the statue of the fish used to be. When I was passing, pretending he was pissing, standing out for me to see it with his baby clothes up to one side, the clean zone. They were a nice lot. It's well the Surreys relieve them. They're always trying to show you every time nearly. I passed outside the men's greenhouse near the Harcourt Street station, just to try some fellow or other, trying to catch my eye, or if it was one of the seven wonders of the world. Oh, and the stink of those rotten places, the night coming home with Poldy, after the Comerford's party, oranges and lemonade to make you feel nice and watery. I went into one of them. It was so biting cold I couldn't keep it when it was that 93. The canal was frozen. Yes, it was a few months after. Pity. A couple of the Camerons weren't there to see me squatting in the men's place, Madero. I tried to draw a picture of it before I tore it up like a sausage or something. I wonder they're not afraid. Going about that, getting a kick or a bang or something there. And that word meant something with hoses in it. And he came out with some jawbreakers about the incarnation. He can never explain a thing simply, the way a body can understand. Then he goes and burns the bottom out of the pan. Oh, for his kidney. This one, not so much. There's the mark of his teeth. Still, where he tried to bite the nipple. I had to scream out. Aren't they fearful? Trying to hurt you. I had a great breast of milk with Millie, enough for two. What was the reason that he said I could have got a pound a week as a wet nurse? Oh, swelled up the morning that delicate-looking student stopped by in number 28, with my citron's Penrose, nearly caught me washing through the window. Only for I snapped up the towel to my face. That was his studentine hurt. They used to wean her until he got Dr. Brady to give me the belladonna prescription. Next.
I had to get him to suck them. They were so hard. He said it was sweeter and thicker than cows. Then he wanted to milk me into the tea. Well, yawned everything. I declare somebody ought to put him in the budget. If only I could remember half of the things and write a book out of it. The works of Master Poldy, yes. And it's so much smoother, the skin. Much an hour he was at them. I'm sure by the clock, like some kind of big infant. I had it at me. They want everything in their mouth, all the pleasure those men get out of a woman. I can feel his mouth. Oh, Lord, I must stretch myself. I wish she was here or somebody to let me go with and come again. Like that. I feel on fire inside me. Or if I could dream it when he made me spend the second time tickling me behind with his finger. I was coming for about 5 minutes with my leg round him. I had to hug him after. Oh, Lord, I wanted to shout out all the things. Fuck or shit or anything. Oh, anything at all. Only not to look ugly, or those lines from the strain. Who knows the way he'd take it? You want to feel your way with a man. They're not at all like him. Thank God. Some of them want you to be nice about it. Next, Owen, is it?
Yeah, I noticed the contrast he does about it. I noticed the contrast he does it and doesn't talk. I gave my eyes that look with my hair a bit loose from the stumbling and my tongue between my lips. Up to him, the savage brute. Thursday, Friday, 1 Saturday, 2 Sunday, 3. Oh Lord, I can't wait till Monday. Free from the train somewhere whistling the strength. Those engines have it in them like big giants, and the water rolling all over and out of them all sides, like the end of love's old sweet song. The poor men that have to be out all the night from their wives and families in those roasting engines, stifling it. Today, I'm glad I burned that. Today, I'm glad I burned the half of those old Freemans and photo bits, leaving things like that lying around. He's getting very careless and threw the rest of them up in the WC. I'll get him to cut them tomorrow for me instead of having them there for the next year to get a few pence for them. Have have him asking where's last January's paper and all those old overcoats. I bundled out of the hall, making the place hotter than it is. That rain was lovely and refreshing. Just after my beauty sleep, I thought it was going to get like Gibraltar. My goodness, the heat there before the Levanter comes back on black as night. Before the Levanter comes back on black as night, and the glare of the rock standing up in it like a big giant compared to their 3 rock mountain they think is so great with the red sentries here and there, the poplars, and they all white hot, and the smell of the rainwater in those tanks watching the sun all the time weltering down on your faded on you faded all those lovely frock fathers friend all on those on your faded all those lovely frock all that lovely frock father's friend Mr. Stanhope sent me from the B Marsh supermarket, the B Marsh Paris. What a shame, my dearest Doggerina. My dearest Doggerina. Next.
She wrote on what she was very nice. What's this? Her other name was just a PC to tell you. I sent the little present, have just had a jolly warm bath, and feel a very clean dog now. Enjoyed it. Wogger, she called him. Wogger, we'd give anything to be back in Jib and hear you sing in Old Madrid, or Waiting Concone is the name of those exercises he bought me. One of those new some word I couldn't make out. Shawls, amusing things, but tear for the least thing. Still they're lovely. I think, don't you will always think of the lovely teas we had together, scrumptious currant scones and raspberry wafers. I adore. Well now, dearest Doggerina, be sure and write soon. Kind she left out regards to your father. Also Captain Grove, with love, yours, Affley, XXXXX. She didn't look a bit married, just like a girl he was, years older than her. Wogger, he was awfully fond of me, and he held down the wire with his foot for me to step over at the bullfight at La Linea when that matador, Gomez, was given the bull's ear clothes we have to wear. Whoever invented them? expecting you to walk up Killiney Hill. Then, for example, at that picnic, all staged up. You can't do a blessed thing in them, in a crowd, run or jump out of the way. That's why I was afraid. When that other ferocious old bull began to charge, the banderillos with the sashes, and the two things in their hats, and the brutes of men shouting, "Bravo, Toro!" Sure, the women were as bad in their nice white mantillas, ripping all the whole insides out of those poor horses. I never heard of such a thing in all my life. Yes, he used to break his heart at me, taking off the dog, barking in Bell Lane. Poor brute. And it's sick. Whatever became of them? I suppose they're dead long ago, the two of them. It's like all through a mist makes you feel so old. I made the scones, of course. I had everything all to myself then. A girl, Hester, we used to compare our hair. Mine was thicker than hers. She showed me how to settle it at the back when I put it up. And what's this else? How to make a knot on the thread with the one hand. We were like cousins. What age was I then? The night of the storm, I slept in her bed. She had her arms round me. Then we were fighting in the morning with the pillow. What fun! He was watching me whenever he got an opportunity at the band on the Almeida Esplanade, when I was with father and Captain Grove. I looked up at the church first, and then at the windows, and then down, and our eyes met. I felt something go through me like all needles. My eyes were dancing. I remember after when I looked at myself in the glass, hardly recognized myself. The change, I had a splendid skin from the sun, and the excitement like a rose. I didn't get a wink of sleep. It wouldn't have been nice on account of her, but I could have stopped it in time. She gave me the Moonstone to read. That was the first I read of Wilkie Collins. East Lynne I read, and The Shadow of Ashley Idas, Mrs. Henry Wood, Mrs. Henry Dunbar, by that other woman. Next, please.
I lent him afterwards with Mulvey's photo in, so he could see I wasn't without, and Lord Lytton, Eugene, Molly, born, she gave me by Mrs. Hungerford. On account of the name, I don't like books with a Molly in them, like that one he brought out me about the one from Flanders, a whore, always shoplifting. Anything she could clothe and stuff and yards of it, this blanket is too heavy on me. That's better. I haven't even one decent night dress. This thing gets all rolled up under me. Besides him, and he fooling, that's better. I used to be weltering in them in the heat, my shift drenched with the sweat, stuck in the cheeks of my bottom on the chairs, and when I stood up, they were so fattish and firm when I got up off the sofa cushions to see with my clothes up, and the bugs, tons of them at night, and the mosquito nets. I couldn't read a line. Lord, how long ago it seems. Centuries, of course. They never come back. And she didn't put her address right on it either. She may have noticed her wogger people were always going away, and we never. I remember the day with the waves and the boats with their high heads rocking at the swell of the ship, those officer uniforms on shore leave made me seasick, and he didn't say anything. He was very serious. I had the high button boots on, and my skirt was blowing. She kissed me 6 or 7 times. Didn't I cry? Yes, I believe I did, or near it to my lips, and very tetterating when I said goodbye. She had a Gorgon's wrap of some special kind of blue colour on her, for the voyage made very peculiarly to one side, like it was extremely pretty. It got as dull as the devil after they went. I was almost planning so run away and mad out of it somewhere were never easy, where we were father or aunt or marriage, waiting, always waiting to guide some two, and we waiting to nurse speech, his flying feet, their damn guns bursting and booming all over the shop, especially the Queen's birthday, and throwing everything down in all directions if you didn't open the window when General Ulysses Grant, whoever he was or did, supposed to be some great fellow, landed off the ship, and old Spragg and the consul that was there from before, the flood dressed up poor man, and he in a mourning for the son. Then the same old reveal in the morning, and drums rolling, and the unfortunate poor devils of soldiers walking about with mistons smelling the place more than the old long-bearded Jews and their jellybees, and Levites assembly, and sound clear and gunfire for the men to cross the lines, and the warden marching with his keys to lock the gates, and the bagpipes, and only Captain Groves and father talking about Rourke's Drift and Plevna and Sir Garnet Wolsey and Gordon of Khartoum lighting their pipes for them every time they went out. Drunken old devil with his grog on the windsill, catch him leaving any of it, picking his nose, trying to think of some other dirty story to tell up in the corner. But he never forgot himself when I was there, sending me out of the room, or some blind excuse, paying his compliments, the Bushmills whiskey, talking, of course. But he'd do the same to the next woman that came along. I suppose he died of galloping drink ages ago. The days like years. Not a letter from a living soul except the odd few I post to myself with bits of paper in them. So bored sometimes I could fight with my nails listening to that old Arab. Next, please. Katrina.
With the one eye, and he's an instrument singing is he. All my compliments on your hodgepodge of your yes, as bad as now, with the hands hanging off me, looking out of the windows. If there was a nice fellow even in the opposite house, that medical in Hollis Street, the nurse was after when I put on my gloves and hat at the window to show I was going out. Not a notion what I meant. Aren't they thick? Never understood what you even say. You'd want to print it up on a big poster for them. Not even if you shake your hands twice with the left. He didn't recognize me either when I half frowned at him outside Westland Row Chapel. Where does their great intelligence come in? I'd like to know the gray matter. They have it all in their tail, if you ask me. Those country gougers up in the city arms intelligence. They had a damn sight less than the bulls and cows they were selling the meat in Coleman's Bell, that noisy bugger trying to swindle me with the wrong bill he took out of his hat. What a pair of paws and pots and pans and kettles to mend any broken bottles for a poor man today, and no visitors or post ever except his checks or some advertisement like that wonder worker they sent him addressed, Dear Madam, only his letter and the card from Millie this morning. See, she wrote the letter to him. Who did I get the letter from? Did I get the last letter from? Oh, Mrs. Dwen. Now what possessed her to write from Canada after so many years to know the recipe I had for pisto madrileño. Chloe Dillon, since she wrote to say she was married to a very rich architect, if I'm to believe all I hear, with a villa and 8 rooms. Her father was an awfully nice man. He was near 70, always good humored. Well, now, Miss Tweeny or Miss Gillespie, there's a pioneer that was a solid silver coffee service he had too on the mahogany sideboard. Then dying so far away, I hate people that have always their poor story to tell. Everybody has their own troubles. That poor Nancy Blake died a month ago of acute pneumonia. Well, I didn't know her so well as all that. She was Chloe's friend more than mine. Poor Nancy. It's a bother having to answer. He always tells me the wrong things and no stops to say, like, making a speech, your sad bereavement, sympathy. I always make that mistake. And nephew with a W's in I hope hell, write me a longer letter next time if it's a thing. He really likes me. Oh, thanks be to the great God. I got somebody to give me what I badly wanted, to put some heart up into me. You've no chance at all in this place like you used to long ago. Lois.
I wish somebody would write me a love letter. His wasn't much, and I told him he could write what he liked. Yours ever, Hugh Boylan. In an old Madrid stuff, silly women believe love is sighing. I am dying. Still, if he wrote it, I suppose there'd be some truth in it. True or no, it fills up your whole day. And life, always something to think about every moment and see it all around you like a new world. I could write the answer in bed to let him imagine me. Short, just a few words, not those long crossed letters Amy Dillon used to write to the fellow that was something in the four courts that jilted her. Out of the lady's letter, after that, out of the lady's letter writer, when I told her to say a few simple words, he could twist how he liked, not acting with precept, itimacy, with equal candor, the greatest earthly happiness, answer to a gentleman's proposal affirmatively. My goodness, there's nothing else. It's all very fine for them. But as for being a woman, as soon as you're old, they might as well throw you out in the bottom of the ash pit. Next, please.
Mulvey's was the first. When I was in bed that morning and Mrs. Rubio brought it in with the coffee, she stood there, standing, when I asked her to hand me, and I, pointing at them, I couldn't think of the word a hairpin to open it with. Ah, horticula, disobliging old thing, and it staring her in the face with her switch of false hair on her and vain about her appearance, ugly as she was, near 80 or 100, her face a mass of wrinkles, with all her religion domineering because she could never get over the Atlantic fleet coming in, half the ships of the world, and the Union Jack flying with all her carabineros because four drunken English sailors took all the rock from them, and because I didn't run into Mass often enough in Santa Maria to please her with her shawl up on her, except when there was a marriage on, with all her miracles of the saints, and her black Blessed Virgin with the silver dress and the sun dancing 3 times on Easter Sunday morning, and when the priest was going by with the bell, bringing the Vatican to the dying, blessing herself for his Majestad, and admired her, he signed it. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Might stop there. That okay, Duncan?
Okay.
Yeah.
We just finished sentence number 4 there. Throw you out in the bottom of the ash pit. Just a few lines up.
Okay. So you say that's number 4?
Yeah, we're on the start. We're in just a few lines into number 5.
Mm.
Can I just ask, is Westland Road Chapel, what's the place, St. Andrew's Church? Is that Westland Road Chapel?
Yes.
So just for locations, so we would have walked in all the same places Bloom walked as well. Because Westland Road is down the road from Sweeney.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just checking. Thank you.
I have a lot of questions,
Good.
and it may be just because I'm dull.
No,
But
we
there
read a
are
lot there.
You don't have to beat yourself up, Lois.
there are things here that I have no idea what we're talking about. And I also noticed that in Gabler, there are ellipses, if I could use that word. You guys read text that I couldn't find in Gabler. Unless I'm completely confused.
Yeah,
There were some words.
they wrote episode.
So, my first question, let's see where we are. Where am I? There seemed to be at the very beginning where it was, yes, I think he made them a bit firmer, sucking them, talking about sucking on her breast, I assume. It looked like words were skipped. In my version.
I noticed that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know Gabler does weird things, so I just wanted to clarify that. So in that full page, starting from like 535 or so, that when the sentence breaks and going forward, yes, I think he made them a bit firmer. At least two swaths of language are just gone from the reading of other people who aren't using Gabler.
So read what you have.
Okay, I'm going to take it from about line 542.
542.
One of them pretending to hide it with her hand. Are they so beautiful, of course, compared with what a man looks like with his two bags full? That much we've got, and then we go on. No wonder they hide it with a cabbage leaf. That disgusting Cameron Highlander behind the meat market, or that other wretch with the red head behind a tree, where the statue of the fish used to be when I was passing, pretending he was pissing, standing out for me to see. That much we got, and then from there on in, we're losing a couple of lines. The fish we have, he was pissing standing. I remember pissing standing out. When I was, it was with his baby clothes up to one side. The Queen's own they were. A nice lot. It's well the Surreys relieved them. Katrina, do you agree with what I'm saying it was missing? And not that it's a big deal, but you do wonder what Gabler
Your
was doing.
microphone, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused myself here.
Yeah.
Now, and I have something here written, check another edition.
Yeah.
So I must have been telling myself to look that up somewhere else.
So
Yeah.
do we have any idea why Gabler would have made these changes?
He's adding stuff, right?
Yes.
No, I think from it explains it in this book here, this Oxford edition. Now I can't speak on this particular point, but in lots of places, it doesn't add stuff. It just puts it in a different place.
Yes, that's happened before. I've noticed that. So I didn't have time to see what was missing here was put somewhere else in this reading just today. And it's not important that we understand which went where and which was deleted completely, but it's just I wanted to make sure I wasn't losing my mind.
Well, we can't guarantee you that, Lois. But
Not yet. Not yet. In a few years, maybe. And there were some phrases used that I had no idea what we were talking about. Let's see if I can find these here. I circled some words. Oh yeah. Talking about reading Wilkie Collins, The Moonstone. In Gabler, it's around 6:55. But I could have stopped it in time. She gave me The Moonstone to read. That was the first I read of Wilkie Collins, East Lyme. I read In the Shadow of Mrs. Henry Dunbar by the other. Does anybody know what this is, Mrs. Henry Dunbar? So she had a copy of The Moonstone, which somebody lent to somebody, which I haven't quite been able to make out of the syntax here. I lent him afterwards with Mulvey's photo in it. Okay, who's Mulvey?
Lois, can you give me a line number?
Yeah, on Gablet would be maybe 655, 656, page
And
622.
657 in Wordsworth, Duncan.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. So Molly Bud, she gave me by Mrs. Hungersford.
Right. And what's Bawn? Bawn. Lord Lytton Eugene Aaron Molly, Bawn, she gave me by Mrs. Hunt.
Molly that's the Irish word for white. Molly Bawn would be a name, White Molly.
Ah, okay, thank you. So it's Molly White.
Yeah.
And
But then why doesn't he
no,
just
as
say,
well, isn't the expression to play Molly Bawn, isn't that an expression meaning to fool someone?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Oh, and
yeah.
then and then there's the Colleen bone
Colleen Bawn, yeah.
Hmm.
as well.
That's a good point.
Molly Bawn is the reference is a novel by Margaret Wolfe Hungerford,
yeah, we've got her here.
pseudonym the Duchess, title taken from the Irish ballad that begins, "Oh Molly Bawn, why leave me pining?"
So it's a twofold explanation here. Molly Bawn is a character in sub-novel, and to play Molly Bawn means to fool people.
Yeah.
And Bawn means white or pretty in Gaelic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
White, blonde, or
So
fair.
it could be blonde, fair Molly.
Mhm.
Oh,
Right.
gotcha.
The fair-haired girl would be a sort of let's say almost a compliment, I think. Jim, if someone's a fair-haired boy, fair-haired girl. So,
And I think somewhere in this text there was the phrase fair-haired girl.
Yeah, this expression, your white-haired boy would be your favorite boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your fair-haired boy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the next page, I have tons more questions.
Okay, before you move on to that though, may I just interject? So there's this whole list of novels that are in this monologue. And these novels are very different than the literature we've associated with Molly Bloom up to this point. Where, things like Sweets of Sen and,
Mm.
these kind of light romance, mildly pornographic books. But in here, I mean, we have, they mentioned Moll Flanders and Molly Bond, and um, there just seem to be a lot of books mentioned here that I would not have associated with Molly Bloom previously. Am I missing something?
I think the key to it is, without tackling particular words, what's happening is that there's a slight change in each sentence, and at this stage she begins to think of her childhood.
Mm-hmm.
These seem to be the sort of books she had read in her teens, you see, or in her
Mm-hmm.
late childhood. But what the essence of this is that Molly is very lonely, and she's thinking of the friends she had in her childhood that she
Yeah,
suddenly
there's a lot of early memories in these pages.
yeah, and like he's Joyce is following a distinct pattern. We don't like Penelope in the Odyssey doesn't say much. All that happens is when Odysseus finally arrives home to his wife is they have a row. You know, like after 20 years, they don't fall in romantic into their arms. There's a row over the bed. That's why the beds are coming and going in this book all the time about Molly's bed. But I think what Joyce did was he moved into the Iliad. And there's a fantastic, if you only read one part of the Iliad, you read the part where there's a truce and the people, after years of siege, they go up on the wall to look out and the Greeks are resting. You know, they're not wearing their armor, they're exercising their horses and walking around in their shirts and stuff, you know, and beautiful Helen goes up on the wall and she's talking to the king. And but what it is actually is her life stretches out on the ground in front of her. And the old king is saying, "Who's that guy over there?" And she's saying, "Oh, that's so and so. He's related to so and so." And there's a guy that he points out Ulysses, and says, "Yeah, he was here once on a deputation." And gradually, you see Helen's childhood, and you have this moment where she says, "The only people I don't see here are my brothers." She has two brothers,
Mm-hmm.
inventing reasons why they wouldn't be there. And the narrator then suddenly says she did not know, but the warm soil of Laconia had already taken her brothers to itself. In other words, they're dead and she doesn't know. And you get this awful feeling for Helen. And I think Joyce is doing that here. He is actually following. He's not just making up crazy half-finished sentences. You know that they are there, and I think that's what he's trying to do there. Suddenly, we go back into her childhood, and she actually says, "You know, it was lonely after they left, like I am now."
Mhm.
You know, and you can sort of. So I think that fits in with the books. That
Okay, right, yeah, because
he had.
Joe, there's something haunting about that.
Oh, there is.
The way you're describing it.
Yeah. It's the point of the Iliad. Most people cry a little, you know, but
Yeah.
this is what's happening here. I mean, it's very hard to feel cross with Molly after reading this sentence, you know. And
What sentence is that, Joe? Which one?
this is sentence number 4 from where, see, what happens is the train goes free from the train
yeah. Mm-hmm.
thoughts. And she's kind of, she gets those old sweet songs, sounds like the wee of the train is like the old love sweet song. My singing isn't up to it. And then she begins to slip back, you know, I've, you know, like in Gibraltar, and then that lovely frock that Mrs. Stanhope sent me, and then and she goes on and she says, she moves along, then said, "I'm very lonely. I wish someone would write me a letter," you know.
Oh.
The second thing about Boylan, just those 4 words, 3 words, his wasn't much. Boylan wrote there, his. I think Lois, you read that. You actually said his wasn't much. You actually got that punch, you know. So he's already lost it for slapping her like she was a horse. Now he's not writing a great letter. She's hoping the next letter might be a bit better from him, you know, could improve. So he's not a hit with the girls quite as much as he might appear to be, you know. So
Yes,
Is this Blazes Boylan she's talking about, Joe?
yeah, oh yeah, his wasn't much as yeah.
well, she's
But Joe, is it hard to find? Because I couldn't work out half time, you know, whether she was talking about Paul or Baldy or Boylan.
In the one phrase, she'll say, you know, him and his, and it'll mean a different one of them.
right.
All right.
What she's thinking about. We have to kind of guess it. And that's it, sort of like, I wish somebody, I'm kind of open here. I wish somebody would write me a love letter. This wasn't much. And I told him he could write what he liked. Yours ever, Hugh Boylan. Yours ever, Hugh Boylan. What a way, best wishes, Hugh Boylan.
Yeah, right.
Letter.
Thanks, Molly. Great time.
I cannot wait for Thursday, it should say.
Well, maybe we can call Gertie McDowell to witness, as it were, because if we go back and we think about Gertie McDowell, who is in the throes of this young girl daydreaming
Yeah.
about all these wonderful
Oh,
things that are going to happen, and then let's assume that was actually Molly also to a certain extent, because when Molly gets into her reverie about the old days back on the Rock of Gibraltar and her swains and the events that were happening to her, you can kind of see that this is when the fantasies seem to be holding. And
Yeah.
even the literature, I mean, the literature that's mentioned here is fairly high blown, and Molly's reading pretty trashy stuff now. As if to say, well, that other romantic literature didn't really pan out so much. So, and I've discovered that men are not the knights in armor and the lovers that I thought they were going to be. So I'm just going to settle for bad literature at this point.
Actually, that's interesting. Yeah, the literature has taken a step down as the quality of man has
It's a
taken
precipitous drop, I think we could say.
Good.
and did she marry beneath her?
I don't know.
Is she?
I think she was still having the fantasies when
Yeah.
Boone came along. Yeah. I wouldn't say that she felt like she was marrying way beneath her, but she obviously has better things to say about the soldiers that were her lovers back on Gibraltar.
Do you not think it's quite contemporary in the sense that even though the women don't make any money, that the sensibility is that he would, through their marriage, become wealthy, and that women married and that the men went out and had careers.
Yeah.
And that would be very modern in its thinking, that 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 he would start and then grow. It wasn't limited to, you weren't limited to who you married and staying the same all the time, that he was going to have a career in the
He was
advertising
going to
industry.
develop and become increasingly more prosperous, and I mean, this is even a almost said mythology now, which we express in, behind every successful man is a strong woman. That's still a common saying.
Yeah.
And but I mean, yeah. Basically, what I'm at this particular point, what I'm most interested in is the lost dream.
Yeah.
Mm.
Gertie McDowell being the younger version of the dream,
Yeah.
and Molly being the disappointed dreamer who still is full of vitality in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's not, her aspirations are not what they were.
But she's only 33 years of age,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. But,
Mm.
I mean, I may be wrong, but I think by that age, by the time a man is 38 and by the time a woman is 33, the die is cast, so to speak. You pretty much can predict
Got it. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rest of the story,
Yeah.
unless they discover a lottery ticket lying on the street or some real fantasy like that. But, you know, I mean, this is why, if I may say, this is why men in their 40s and 50s are probably at the most dangerous stage for themselves and for other people. That they
Explain.
a man in their 40s and definitely by the time they're in their 50s, they know what level they're going to get to.
Oh, yeah, I see.
And it's a very uncomfortable truth for a lot of people because there's only so many, quote, winners, which, you know, in America is usually expressed through position and salary. Katrina, oh, I guess Katrina's talking to somebody else. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm focused because she does spend a lot of time revisiting her youthful memories.
Yes.
And her real thing concerning Boylan and Leopold is kind of practical. Not charmingly wonderful, but practical. Boylan, for now, is going to provide Molly with the kind of sexual satisfaction she's going to get. She's given up on Leopold in that regard. But Leopold is the more interesting personality. He's the weirdo. He's kind of like my cat. My wife loved tomcats, and she loved tomcats. She said that female cats were just too practical, and they were boring. But a male cat, a tomcat, was just a fool who was going to make you laugh often because they would do and try things that were just beyond their capabilities, or they were just weird. They had weird personalities. So she loved the tomcats, and I think that Molly's getting to that stage of life where the men in her life are chosen for practical duties and entertainment.
And tell me, I'm beginning to think that Boylan is single because he turns up with his sister somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's single.
He's single.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he's single.
he's a bit of a gigolo.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's a big hit with the girls in his own head.
Well, I mean, look at he's getting ready to go visit earlier in the story. Of course, he's getting ready to go visit Molly, and he goes into the shop to get the fruit and the flowers and all that. And he's hitting on the shop girl.
Yeah.
And he goes into the bar where the sirens are, and he's flirting with the sirens, and you know,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
he's a swain. He's a man about town. He's
Ladies'
a
man.
playboy.
Yeah. So
Before we go, I have two more boring questions. There are at least two words that are used here that I have no idea what they mean. In Gabler on page 623, at the top of the page, we have, she may have noticed her Wogger people. What are Wogger people? And on the same page, twice, we have the word, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Heass, Heass. Can anybody tell me what these words are?
oh yeah. Yeah, they're okay. Hias is the instrument.
Yes, yeah. What is it?
It's
an instrument?
it's a musical instrument?
An Arabic musical instrument.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
Aren't you glad I asked?
yeah, I am.
Yeah, suddenly it all makes sense, doesn't it? And when was the other one?
Wogger. What's a
The
wogger?
Wogger. I think brown people.
No, it's a
No,
nickname they have there, isn't it, for somebody?
Spanish or
has a lot on
Yeah,
that.
what we know now as wogs.
So you're
Would that be
talking about
correct?
slightly dark-skinned people?
No,
Yeah.
it meant a very young child. This is not me. It's
Oh.
Sloat. Wogger is from wog, a very young child, a term of endearment. Endearment of affectionate idiocy.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to make sense in that sentence. She may have noticed her Wogger people were always going away, and we never. I
But her
remember that.
boyfriend's name is what? She's nickname for her boyfriend is Wogger.
She calls him the
No,
wogger.
but in colonial times, a wog was a native person who worked for the colonial administration. And it
Yeah, I
had
knew
nothing
there
to do with
was
color.
something like that.
It had nothing to do with color, but it meant that that person was a native person who was working for the colonial administration.
Okay.
But in this instance, it might mean something else, but that's where the word comes from.
right.
Mm.
But in
So
practical
Irish
fact,
people who were in the British Army would have been wogs.
yeah, but they would have been the racial exception. I mean, in most cases, the British colonies, the people that the British were lording it over were either brown or black.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
The
if you were in
Irish-
Australia, all the people, all the convicts who were brought over on the boats,
Yeah.
Okay.
a lot of them were Irish or people who went there. And
The
if
wo-
they entered the administration
Yeah.
and played at being like the colonists,
Yeah.
then that's the term they were called.
They were called Poms, prisoner of Mother England.
Is that where it came from?
Yeah,
Prisoner of Mother England.
yeah.
Homes.
That's why they call the English Pommies when they come out.
Thank you.
Ah. All right. Well, okay. Let's see where do we get to? Is anybody
I
flipped
think we got as far at the end of the fourth sentence.
No,
We go back before
We went a little further.
before Joe began to read. You want to go back to where Joe began to read?
That'd be Mulvey's was the first page.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With
Okay,
Wordsworth.
what page is that, Joe?
Six,
Oh,
six,
movies for the
zero.
first. Okay,
660 and
Okay,
624 in Gabler.
624 Gab.
In Gabler.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then this is going to be today is the
Still on
23rd.
love
so
letters.
10:30.
Mm.
10:30, 25. Okay. All righty.
I don't know where it is, but I'll find it.
Mulvey's was the first.
Malvis was the first. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think they mentioned Mulvey that many times. So probably if you searched on the word on the name Mulvey, you would
Yeah.
get there
No,
pretty quick.
yeah. Yeah. That's
Big exciting news in the Shakespeare reading department.
oh, what?
We are almost, not quite, we have completed the reading of King Lear.
Thank God.
We are going to be discussing it tomorrow, and may or may not begin The Tempest, which we're going to handle at Katrina's suggestion is slightly different. We're going to read through all of The Tempest, and then we're going to go back and read it in smaller pieces and discuss it along the way.
Duncan, when you read these Shakespeare plays, how do you read them? Do you assign parts to people, or do you just
Yeah.
read like we do with this?
Yes, we assign
Yeah.
parts to people.
So who's the casting director?
Well, it has been Dave, but Dave has this unfortunate habit of
Going
being
on
a
tour.
world traveler.
Yeah.
So I guess I just kind of name a part and ask for a volunteer. And then if the delay is too long in getting the volunteer, I assign it.
Uh-huh.
We
But
usually
people
go
are-
scene
people
by
are getting
scene.
pretty good at
if-
Are you
volunteering.
Lois, are you going to come along?
I'm thinking about it because The Tempest is the last play of Shakespeare's I ever became familiar with. Up until 2 or 3 years ago, I knew nothing about that play. So I've been reading it more frequently. So I'll think about it, but
Yeah.
can't do too many nights a week.
Yes, as you will. Come when you want, leave when you want,
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
So what do you do if one of your characters drops out on a week? Somebody else has to pick up the role?
We
no,
there's no
go scene
set
by
role.
scene. Yeah, scene by
No.
scene.
Oh, okay.
So it changes all the time. Men
Right.
play women, women play men.
and gender doesn't matter.
No.
Gender
It's,
is.
it's Shakespeare. Gender doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's a pantomime. Good night,
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay, guys.
Good
See you
night.
next
Thank
week.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.